a student and a football player. Rosen said, look, football and school don't go together. They just don't. Trying to do both is like trying to do two full-time jobs. There are guys who have no business being in school, but they're here because this is the path to the NFL. There's no other way. Then there's the other side that says raise the SAT eligibility requirements. Okay, raise the SAT requirement in Alabama and see what kind of team they have. You lose athletes, then you lose production on the field suffers. Shannon, does Rosen have a point?
He has a small point, Skip. But let's be fair now. Josh Rosen was going to school regardless. He's from a well-to-do family. So if this football thing doesn't work out, Josh Rosen has something to fall back on.
Agreed.
If Josh Rosen didn't get a scholarship to go to UCLA, his family was going to send Josh Rosen probably to this very school. So he has nothing to lose. He makes some very good points, Skip, because it is hard being a student athlete, which is a lie. You're an athlete student because you didn't get an academic scholarship. You got an athletic scholarship. And my first couple of years, Skip, I was trying to get 2 degrees. I was majoring in eligibility and criminal justice because I realized in order for me to stay and take those classes, I had to perform on the football field because that's what got me to Savannah State was my athletic ability. And it wasn't a 4-year deal. It was a 1-year deal. And if I didn't fulfill my obligation on the field, guess what, Skip? I was going to be at Savannah State. That's how it works. It's a trade-off. Now, you can go to school all you want to and say, you know what, I'm going to get my degree and all that, and you're going to let your athletic prowess slip. Well, we're going to see if they're going to give you an academic scholarship because I can tell you the coach is not going to have you on his football team. It's very difficult, Skip, because, Coach, we knew we couldn't take afternoon classes in the fall. You were practicing. I didn't even think about it. I look at that class like, man, I need that class. I ain't taking it. Hey, I'm going to try to get it in the winter or the spring because I'm not taking it during the fall. You understood that. And guys, Coach Davis, I need to get this class. Coach Davis said, hey, are they going to pay for school? Nope. I expect to see you at practice tomorrow.
How much should they crack down on eligibility if your grades didn't measure up? Would you be kicked off?
Yeah. You get academic suspension and you couldn't play. But Skip, I understood. Now I went to school because my grandmother didn't send me to school to go down there and horse jive around for 4 years just because I wanted to go play in the NFL. I was going to have a fallback plan. But Skip, I got my homework. You know why I did my schoolwork, Skip? Because guess where all the girls were? In the library. And they couldn't understand.
They were not in the library.
They were in the library. They were like, every night. Hey, Sean, where you going? I'm going to the library. Why you going to the library? I'm going to, get my homework. It's nice and quiet. But that's where them things were. And I wanted to be where the things were. So I did my homework and I played on the field. But, hey, it's a very tough position to be in, Skip, because guess what? And I know everybody saying, well, they're getting $50,000 and $70,000. So is the guy blowing the saxophone in the band. But ain't nobody showing to see him play. Josh Rosen is worth more to UCLA than that scholarship is paying him. I can assure you of that. You telling me Lamar Jackson, who won the Heisman at Louisville, isn't worth more than $50,000 at Louisville? That's the way it works. So I can imagine somebody going to Nick Saban and say, Coach, I need to be in lab. I know it's LSU week, but I need to be in lab. What do you think Nick Saban's going to say to him, Skip? But it's a tough position, Skip, because a lot of time, and the thing is, like college non-athletes, Skip, that's all they get to do is study. You get all the free time you want. You don't have to worry about lifting weights. You don't have to worry about film session. You don't have to worry about practice. You got to do all those things if you're a student athlete. And the really good one, and this is what I like about a football player in the NFL. I like guys that are disciplined because I'm gonna look at them and I'm like, okay, how close is this guy to graduating? Because I don't want a guy that just, he can't manage his time because you got a lot of time in the NFL. Ain't nobody going to tell you to do all the things because once you leave, you're on your own. So I want guys that's going to be disciplined and focused. But he didn't lie, Skip. It is very difficult. And when you go as an athlete, you go in Alabama, Skip, those guys that go to Alabama, they're not trying to be doctors and lawyers. Those guys that go to Ohio State, they're going for one reason. They look at Nick Saban and they look at Urban Meyer's track record of getting guys to the NFL. And that's what they want to do. So, and stop saying, well, what happens? So only a small group of guys go to the NFL. So they say the unemployment rate is about 4% to 4.3%. So it's only professional athletes out of work. So ain't no lawyers, no doctors, no finance majors, no econ majors, none of those. So only athletes are this unemployment. So y'all dismiss me with that. Sometimes you go to school to try and you play a sport and you don't make it professional. Just like if you go to school and you try to be an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer, you don't make it.
Okay. By the way, you realize there's no talking in the library, so how did you pull that
Oh
off?
man, you
Or
crazy.
were they? Did you were allowed because you're a jock? You got to talk?
Skip out whispering.
You never
And
whispered
they
in
like
your
Skip.
life.
And plus they like Skip. I'm answering questions in class. They see me in class. I'm raising my hand. Everybody else sitting in the back trying to be cool. I sat in the front of the class, dressed to the T, creased jeans, dressed up, had me a sport coat and slacks on Friday. Like, oh, he going somewhere. I am. You want to go with me? Do you want to ride in this Mercedes, girl? You know, Pebbles, I reversed it. Do you want to ride in my Mercedes, girl? Had a Mercedes.
Careful, we're going to have to pay for it.
Oh, man, my man, Pebbles, I'm sorry. L.A., I'm sorry. L.A. Reid, that's...
I got it. So the one issue I have with what Josh Rosen said is, even though there's, what did you say, a little truth?
Yes.
Some truth?
Yeah.
I don't love the stereotyping and generalizing because it doesn't always fit.
Right.
Because there are those players, black and white, who do go to school also.
Yes.
And there are some who are, they know themselves well enough to know that their odds of making it in pro football or pro basketball are not the greatest, so they maximize their educational opportunity,
Right.
or they make sure they're going to go back and get their degree, which
Correct.
you can do.
Yes, that's
okay,
what I
so
did.
let's not eliminate that group. I don't
Right.
know what percent that is, but the Richard Shermans and the Doug Baldwins who went to Stanford, or let's do Jay Cutler at Vanderbilt, trust me, they went to class and they're all good students.
Very good.
And I'm sure Richard and Doug would tell you they really value their degree I think they both got their degree.
Yes,
they did.
they did.
Yeah. Okay, so in general, if I can generalize, I have always thought that there are a whole lot of college, especially football players, who choose to go to schools that they would never have attended without the football or the basketball.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
I grew up a University of Oklahoma fan, and we would go recruit in San Diego and Florida and New York,
Yeah.
and they would come to Norman, Oklahoma. I like Norman, but it's not, it's not Las Vegas,
No.
and I would say, why are they coming to Norman? They're coming for the mystique of this program
Yes.
and the NFL pipeline that this
Correct.
program can
Correct.
be. So would they choose to go to OU academically? It's a fine school.
Right.
No. They just wouldn't, and that happens all around
Right.
the country. So I do give you that. I'm also a little leery of that SAT point that he made, because we've heard, and this isn't just about black kids, but some white kids just don't test well. Right. So if you did raise the SAT, it could hurt a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
It could really...
Yeah, Alabama's not going to be the only one that got hurt.
Everybody across the board,
It's not just your SAT score
Yeah.
anyway. They balance your SAT score
With your,
grade point average.
Grade point average.
Okay. But if I can just speak about my personal situation. So I go to Vanderbilt.
Right.
And they don't have a journalism school. So I decide I want to write. So I got to write for the school paper or the local paper, the national paper. And it's all extracurricular. Well, trust me, it was like I was working a full-time job and trying to stay in school as a public school kid in a really difficult academic environment against a lot of private school kids.
Were you getting paid?
It was hard. Well, I got a full scholarship.
No, I'm saying, were they paying you for writing for the paper?
No. For the school paper or the Nashville paper?
Nashville paper.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, you got money on the side, Skip?
Like $5.
You should have lost your eligibility.
I should.
Because that's what would have happened if an athlete.
I know. Well, that's true. That's a very fair point. So the point is, I made it because I didn't do a lot of partying, because you got to do two things. You know, these are what matter. This is going to launch you into life, both your academics or your football.
Right.
And so it's doable if you want to do it. He's saying it's like working 2 full-time jobs.
Right.
Okay. So then in the big picture, you just mentioned it. The biggest crime is that these kids are unpaid, especially the football and the basketball players, because they're making millions of dollars. That's what he's talking about for their schools and for the NCAA in general.
Because let's be real, Skip.
Yeah.
There's really only 2 moneymakers in the institution. That's basketball and football.
Yeah.
They prop up all the other
Everything.
athletic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so that's a crime to me.
Yes.
Yet the administrators argue, well, we sell to our boosters, our major donors, the fact this is pure amateurism, that these are, to reverse your term, these are real student athletes.
Okay.
They actually sit in the same classrooms that the alums sat in. Maybe.
They didn't go there because of them alums.
No, they did not. So I get the hypocrisy. That's the point of all this that I liked, because they're selling this sort of ivy-covered amateurism, and it's all baloney.
Oh, it's pie. It's pie in the sky. It's not even close.
It is.
But Skip, you know this. Every athlete you ask, no matter where, because here's the thing, Skip, no matter what level you play on, if you play Pop Warner, the JV, the varsity, you have aspirations of going higher. You play to advance. Nobody says, okay, this is as far as I want to do. I just want to play high school football, or I just want to play college football. Now, some might know they're not good enough to go to the next level, but that doesn't mean you don't aspire to be that. And so I'm looking at, and everybody at Alabama, all those guys at Alabama, you can't tell them all of them not going to play in the NFL. All those guys at Ohio State, you can't tell them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be the guy, although we know it's not going to be the case. There's 100 guys at the University of Alabama and Ohio State. All 100 of them are not going to play professional football. Mm-hmm. But you can't tell them that. Just like all those people that's trying to get a law degree. You think you can tell them they're not going to be the next Alan Dershowitz or the Johnny Cochrans? Of course, they believe that, Skip. And if I'm a football player, and if I could have had the grades, I would have gone to a bigger school. Just like if you want to be an engineer, you're going to MIT, you're going to Georgia Tech. If you want to be a doctor, you're going to try to get into Harvard Medical School. That's just the way it works, Skip. We know this. But people want to make it seem like that only athletes have this, athletes. Everybody's not going to become a doctor. Everybody's not going to become a lawyer. They make it seem like only athletes go to college and play sports and don't get an opportunity to fulfill their dream of being a professional in their set and what they went to school in.
Yeah,
that's so ridiculous and false.
No, the athletics are harder to compare. You know, there's not hundreds of thousands of people showing up at games to cheer on doctors.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're like, well, the teachers, they have the highest job. Well, when 85,000 show up to a lab class to hear you teach,
right? Then it'll be a little different.
Yeah.
Joy was an athlete student, right?
Yeah, and my SAT score was terrible, but
Terrible.
I had really good. I'm not a good test taker.
Oh.
But
No,
I had
terrible
an almost perfect GPA, so it was fine.
Well, I didn't have no almost perfect GPA. I took one book home in high school, and the only reason I took that book home, the teacher said he was going to fail me if he checked my locker, and that book was not in there.
It hadn't even been
What
creased.
was your grandmother saying about your grades?
My grandma said, you passing. I told you I majored in eligibility. I was going to the next grade. I went from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12.
You didn't get disciplined for your bad grades?
I did my chores. I played football. I didn't get no trouble. And then Savannah State, Skip, the party ended about 1 o'clock. By 12:50, they was going to get ready to play the bus stop. Hit the party. I put my clothes on. Hey, Joe, I be there asleep. They already know Shannon coming.
Go to parties.
They know I'm coming. But
Tiger